Iowa. Here is the MVP. Offense turned it over 25 times. Indiana losing by 21. Ionescu catch and shoot as Jones steps into a
point performance right here. Handling the fish. She's going to be targeted by every
times. New York's had some WNBA record with those 120. It finds its way to Clark. Extra pass to six.
And she leans in just.
Ionescu will fire away.
Already tonight than they did against.
As Stewart works her way inside, she leads. Andy Grondello in her third year in New York. Player of the year her last 3 seasons.
Leah Boston straight up one-on-one.
Second most points she scored with the Liberty. In that run to the final. Hit a big one in the 4th quarter.
Yeah, that's a
frustration from that Fever sideline. Boston the offensive rebound through the trees.
Offensively, try to tack on some fouls.
She'll drive on Clark, hit the decks. Indiana offense last year, 5th in the dome opener. Boston.
With the physicality of Connecticut, they're so good.
Good ball movement. Samuelson's open. Jones around the perimeter as Stewart the opener. Stewart only had 8 points.
Show out, and for me, I love it coming here.
Smith with the crossover off balance. Jones from the foul line.
Offense is defense. New York is too efficient.
An ankle injury, still not 100% inside. Spins it over to Boston. To career low. It's a 2nd-year pro, Leah Boston. Quill Jones leading the Indiana Fever. Just minutes with the Liberty. Here's Ionescu, but the layup. Smith the rebound. And Smith puts it up too strong. Offensive points for Boston as Stewart the other way. MVP award last year.
Gets the switch. Sabley does a good job.
In here, turns the quarter on Stewart and out. In 2019, Ionescu.
For Sabrina.
Clark, step back 3. The first 3-pointer is Lainey Hamilton. Throws team from the field. Scored pass, Samuelson, a corner 3. Here's Stewart on a step back. More that she scored on Tuesday. Hamilton, Lainey pre-COVID and had a state. She was a huge part of that. It over. Intense
Pat that
Stewart contested look .com. Chelsea Casper, I'm Pat Boylan. And here Boykic, tough. Wheeler, kick out. Here's Lexi Hull.
She picked up 2 quick fouls in the first.
That might be a first. Clark finds some space. Kennedy Burke, a former.
Erica Wheeler on the top of the floor. Kelsey.
That's a tough look. And Wheeler out. Melissa Smith through traffic.
That's a good defensive job.
Burke gets around Smith to the rim, and a nice Vandersloot pulls up, driving into Ionescu, using the other. Ionescu from the mid-range. Whole corner 3. She knocks.
Women's basketball right now is their venues when tickets because there's a demand, and it changed the way they look at women's sports. 5 players in this league have 47. We're first team. We should be grateful that somebody like Caitlin.
Tonight as Mitchell gets inside. They're so talented, so entertaining. Here's Wallace off balance, draws.
With Christy Wallace, Telly, above part of the Opals.
Friendly?
No.
Fever bent. Jones not able to take advantage of it. Ionescu off. Vandersloot. Jones, high-low, it's Stewart.
Smaller lineup, Katie Lou Samuelson.
Everything running through Stewart so far.
Drop down. See, Boston
leaves it back for Stewart, or launches.
Is a good screener. She can.
NBA 5 years later. And here is Lainey Hamilton, the step. Liberty really protect
one else to be MVP of the league. But
against Indiana. Let's see if Caitlin Clark can't get Samuelson mid-range shot.
It all very well. And her sit the other night.
Early had some big born back in August. To send John Quill Jones to the foul against Washington, and New York needed every. 3 rebounds, a couple of fouls. Still look. Greg Benley finds some space.
Her let her go to work.
Jones pulls down
for the chemistry on the offensive end. Where
sees the double team, leans in. 3. Bounce pass. There's Boston. So many assists. Boston the patience. And
than that. It's a great find by Caitlin.
Stewart driving into fact. Benley off balance
for New York.
Looking to put the finishing touches on a championship this year. This little scoop shot leaves it short. Boston. As number 17, Erica Wheeler. Samuelson, deep position, lays it.
Has to be good as
a trend your teams have. As Stewart, it was Clark who got the hand in there. And at least right now.
She has 4.
Got into a little foul trouble in Connecticut.
Defending Katie Lou on that in
3rd quarter. Stewart And on a second, Smith doesn't get it off in time. Slew drives on Clark, puts on the break. Driving it back at Jones, and a bank shot. Spinning, fading, fire.
New York.
Stewart fading, fire.
Time she was the MVP of
two-point effort. Here's Stewart. The Fever really tested here in the early. Laney fires inside. There's Jones. To find space here on the offense.
Yes, here's a point I want to make for you. Work.
Mitchell catch and shoot to the extra pass. Vandersloot.
He said not quite, but we'll get it. Be hard to get a bunch of new players.
Baskets lately. Laney Hamilton.
Possible.
Benley on second chance points as Laney came back to Indiana to start last season. I think every point guard
we had not seen, and there is for Kelsey Mitchell because it gets her.
And Stewart called for the foul. I think a pretty effective 12 minutes.
We're seeing what she can do when she stays on the floor.
To see Caitlin Clark, that signature moment here in Indianapolis. Ionescu, a deep three.
To Lisa's left, who will be the new.
Mitchell drive it into a triple team, gets it, looking her way for years, and all of a sudden.
Right in when you can make play.
And working her way back to 100%. Working. Ionescu driving into Wheeler, off balance.
Arena.
Clark on the drive, gets inside.
Here's a difference for Caitlin Clark. The speed of the game. That's an example.
And Clark. And in fact, Benley. Rookie out of Germany getting Vandersloot left alone. Points on 3 shots here tonight. Clark, step back 3.
Back-to-back national.
Out on their feet. Vivish.
Anticipation or the expectation transform into.
And Berger is fouled by
underneath the rim, and then the extra rotation.
Got vision like that.
Sprint. Let's run this.
Bounces in. Indy.
Shots open for everyone else. So even
we know Kelsey, she can impact it more as she can.
Smith's been quiet tonight. Wide open. That corner look. Stewart fouled.
And in space. Acrobatic finish by Stewart.
Inside, Jonquel Jones is home. Sets up Clark.
Of New York has been an issue on the front line.
We have opened up here with the first 7 points.
To force that switch.
She'll be done. Ionescu launches it. Beavers do last year an overtime loss as Indiana looking at a similar tap. Jones, beautiful find. Ionescu the 4th quarter. And right back in. Well, Jones, the MVP in 2020.
Teams are against 2 of the top 3 teams.
3 posts for Smith.
Your teammates, you're going to learn a lot about this on Tuesday night with the back time. And for Phoenix, available right now, but I thought at all for Indiana.
Offensive rebound and themselves out.
Yeah, it's going to take some time. Part of the timing, the rhythm of your offense, and it takes some time for that to happen.
Katie Lou Samuelson. Smith driving the poise. Smith pulled it down. 16 more shots than Indiana here tonight. And they're at their typical level. And Boston.
Went on last year.
As Vandersloot finds some space. Not be a success as a young team. And that
you need to know how.
Towel.
She went 12 for 21 from the floor. And she's.
What a night for the Liberties here from Indianapolis as Berger off balance leaves it short. Offensive rebound.
They should, right?
Come to 10. They went toe-to-toe for large portions of her Iowa.
In the 4th quarter. Indiana never. Clark will.
11 points in the second half. Had 20 points on a night where everyone was rookie. As Thornton, Benley had it blocked on the other end. Timeout, except you can't huddle. You can advance. Thornton, another corner.
Personal offense and the ability to execute.
Saxton steps into it.
Right, they have won at the highest elite level athletes.
They were at the beginning of last season, but
Tails for Indiana with a young.
There by Indiana. Berger comes up with this. Really had trouble with those entry passes. Much bigger picture here. Survey. There was one unanimous answer. As they dominate the 4th quarter, a 17-point deficit. As number 17, Erica Wheeler, floor in that first half. As Samuelson, deep position, lays it.
I think their transition defense also has to be good. As
at point guard, that tends to be a trend your teams have. As still, Caitlin Clark is called for that foul. It was Clark who got the hand in there. quarter early here in the third. At least right now.
She has 4.
Both ends of the floor. She got into a little foul trouble in Connecticut.
Nescu doing a much better job, Pat, that time, defending Katie Lou on that.
Indiana's knocked down their first 2 shots of the third quarter. Inside for Stewart. And on a second.
Playing in space. That stagger action.
Get back out to Wheeler. Shot clock down to 1. Smith doesn't get it off in time. Vandersloot drives on Clark, puts on the break. End. Austin driving it back at Jones, and a bank shot. Laney Hamilton spinning, fading, fire in.
New York
Second chance points here tonight. Stewart fading,
finally championships at UConn. 4 times she was the MVP.
Against the Fever last year, including a 42-point effort. Here's Stewart. The Fever really tested here in the early. Laney fires inside. There's Jones.
6 wide open at the rim.
An opener. She struggled to find space here on the offense.
Well, I think for Indiana to get back in this, here's a point I want to make for your defense and try to get some of your actions to work.
Mitchell catch and shoot. Delivered. Jones pulls it down. Stewart extra pass. Vandersloot.
Change of pace, the speed, the cuts. He said not quite, but we'll get it. She's saying we don't have the timing down right. It'd be hard to get a bunch of new players.
Here on the defensive end. They're just trading baskets lately. Laney Hamilton.
Everything. She scored in every way possible.
Bentley outscored Indiana by 16 on second chance points as Laney
Erica Wheeler.
Wheeler, who came back to Indiana to start last year wing. Something I think every point guard offensively.
That's a new set though we had not seen, and there is. I like that Iverson action for Kelsey Mitchell because it gets her.
Back Bentley into a double team, and Stewart called for the foul. Had, I think, a pretty effective 12 minutes. So
it was quick. And now we're seeing what she can do when she stays on the
floor. Will take a breather. Here, for so many to see Caitlin Clark. Still looking for that signature moment here in Indianapolis.
It's not good for Caitlin.
Ionescu, a deep 3.
Dan Jensen sitting to Lisa's left, who will be the new.
Mitchell drive it into a triple team, gets it, has had almost all the attention looking her way for years, and all of a sudden.
I think she's going to have additional space to operate in. When you can make plays, it's going to open up the floor.
And the Team USA working her way back to 100%, working
to the floor.
Ionescu driving into Wheeler, off balance.
3-point line is Sabrina.
Where they are up by 20. Clark on the drive, gets inside.
You know, here's a difference for Caitlin Clark. Overs past somebody, you can score, but the speed of the game, that's an exam. Turns the corner.
And Clark, there's Fagbenle into the passing lane. And Fagbenle, Leonie Fiebisch, rookie out of Germany, getting her for Vandersloot left alone. There's 2 points on 3 shots here tonight. Clark, step back 3.
Not in my day. Back-to-back national.
In Indianapolis, as the crowd on their feet, Fiebisch.
Is it the anticipation or the expectation, especially with everything that she has helped the league transform into opportunity here?
Signature pass, swing at Berger, and Berger is fouled by
job with the drift pass because she caught it underneath the rim, and then the extra rotation.
Speed and the athleticism, Debbie, but when you've got vision like that.
Caitlin Clark right there, hold it up. Everybody sprint. Let's run this.
Clark bounces in
You're paying attention to Caitlin. That leaves open shots open for everyone else. So even this one to go along with her 9 points.
We know, Kelsey, she can impact her as her time gets more as she can.
Point deficit down to 11. Smith's been quiet tonight. Laney Hamilton wide open at corner. No look. Stewart fouled.
New York playing with pace and in space. What an acrobatic finish by Stewart.
Inside, Jonquel Jones is home. Wheeler sets up Clark. Oh,
well, the length of New York has been an issue on the front line.
Liberty have opened up here with the first 7 points.
By Sandy Brondello to force that switch.
Per fifth. One more, she'll be done. Ionescu launches.
12 were above 500 last year.
Beavers do accomplishments last year, an overtime loss as in the extra session. Indiana looking at a similar tap. Jones, beautiful find. Ionescu, 12 points to start the fourth quarter. As Hamilton switch on to Smith. And right back in. Stewart's won a pair of MVPs. Jonquel Jones, the MVP in 2020. Seattle and Vegas coming
up. The first 4 games are against 2 of the top 3 teams.
3 posts for Smith.
You're going to learn a lot about your teammates. You're going to learn a lot about. I had Phoenix at Vegas on Tuesday night with a back to double figures and break off a play at any time. And for Phoenix, hurt with a toe injury, so she's not available right now. But I thought, so the schedule's not easy at all for Indiana.
Laney Hamilton misses. Offensive rebound and group that's still trying to figure themselves out.
Yeah, it's going to take some time. Well, you know, there's a chemistry part in the timing, the rhythm of your off to come together. And it takes some time for that to happen.
Fever with numerous new players. Katie Lou Samuelson, not at 100% health to start the year. Smith driving the
top foot.
Shot clock down to 2. Wheeler has to hoist. Smith pulled it down. And Connecticut took 16 more shots than Indiana, and 13 more shots than the Fever have here tonight. And the Liberty haven't been at their typical level. The switch on to Burke. And Boston.
They made a significant improvement as the season went on last year.
15 wins. As Vandersloot finds some space, the goal. Anything less would not be a success. Brilliance and some reminders that this is a young team and that
with the new eyes coming to the league, you need to know how.
Here is Caitlin Clark. Towel.
And 21 shots, where she went 12 for 21 from the floor. And she's.
What a night for the MVP. What a night for the Liberty. Just a nearly flawless performance here from Indianapolis as Berger off bounce. Second year in the WNBA as Dojkic leaves it short. Offensive rebound.
Well, they should, right?
Two of the top point guards in the Big Ten. They went toe-to-toe. Fan base that didn't like her all that much for large portions of her Iowa.
Cut it to 11, and they went on that late run here in the fourth quarter. Indiana never took some time, and certainly Caitlin Clark will.
Fever never got closer than 11 points in the second half. It was a similar story in Connecticut. She had 20 points on a night where everyone was off night. She's impactful, even as a rookie. As Thornton. As Bentley had it blocked on the other end. In the final 2 minutes, a timeout, except you can't huddle. You can advance. But as the season continues, Thornton another corner.
I'm all about situational offense and the ability to execute. You ball called set.
Saxton steps into Brianna Stewart.
That's a core group that knows how to win, right? They have won at the highest level because there are highly competitive, elite-level athletes.
Not figuring out the chemistry like they were at the beginning of last season, but 2024.
Larger details for Indiana with a young.
The defense there by Indiana. Berger comes up with the pounded underneath. Indiana's really had trouble with those entry passes. Didn't go the way the Fever wanted it to. A much bigger picture here. In the annual GM survey, there was one unanimous answer with 100% Indiana Fever. As Dojkic triple digits as they dominate the fourth quarter.